This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog. Hey, Bulldog.
Mic is off.
Hey, Bulldog.
Get it on.
Hey, Bulldog.
Amen. This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
You can turn off the Hey Bulldog now if my mic's on, Jake.
Bulldog.
What a weekend. Homer Bailey pitched a no-hitter, something that William does not realize is is not a perfect game. There's a big difference, very big difference. And I made him correct it on Sunday. I publicly wanted to humiliate him. Wednesday is the big presidential debate, which is going to be a topic of discussion, obviously, all week long because it's going to be coming up, and then it will be after the fact. Also, weren't you a little bit troubled, at least I was, before the football game yesterday when they introduced the referees and the field judge and everybody else? They all got to give us their names and where they went to college. Was that part of the negotiations with the NFL that they're allowed to do that now? That they get introduced? Thought it was pretty interesting. The Bengals, of course, won. The Giants lost, thank God. Every team in the NFC North is now, East, NFC East, is now 2-2. And if my Cowboys can beat the Bears tonight, they'll be 3-1, which is a great thing. Today in history, Winston Churchill, in a famous speech, called the Soviets a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. That's a pretty good line. In 1957 was the first appearance of In God We Trust on U.S. paper currency. 1962, Johnny Carson hosted his first Tonight Show, and Joan Crawford was the guest. Also, in 1992, the Cartoon Network premiered. The Cartoon Network. What a big day in history, the Cartoon Network. I have to admit, I watched the Cartoon Network a lot when my kids were of age. Not so much lately. Today's famous birthdays. Julie Andrews is 77. Jimmy Carter is 88. Walter Matthau would have had a birthday, as would had former Chief Justice William Rehnquist and Bonnie Parker of Bonnie and Clark fame. Not bad. Also, today is International Day for the Elderly, Postcard Day, and World Vegetarian Day. Yesterday I went, we had a fall day. You know what you do in fall? You go to a place, and I know many of you go as well, to one of these farms that sells apples and pumpkins this time of the year, and nothing puts you in the mood more than for fall than going to such a place, does it? We went to the McClaslin farm out in Hebron, down on Route 8, and we bought a bunch of great apples, and then my wife made an apple pie, and then we ate the apple pie. That's a great Sunday. And it dawned on me, relative to apples, because we bought some potatoes too, is there any more versatile food than apples and potatoes? I mean, there are, about 1,000 different ways you can cook apples and potatoes? I mean, applesauce, apple pie, sliced apples, diced apples, cinnamon apples, you put apples in anything. And the same thing with potatoes. And then we bought a caramel apple. And usually when I get a caramel apple, the only thing I'm eating off the caramel apple is the caramel. But the apple was so good, I ate the apple and the caramel. Relative to politics, I can't wait to get into this. But it struck me yesterday when I was lifting weights and working out. You know, Barack Obama, sorry folks, I believe he's an atheist. And he has Muslim leaning politically. He's anti-colonial since 2016, points out. Barack Obama does not believe in God. He might have to say that for purposes of politics, but he does not believe in God. And you know what? It dawned on me that between all of his deceit and all of his lies and all of his corruption, God and karma are going to get him. Just watch. Just watch. God and karma is going to get good old Barack Obama. It might be the Libyan crisis. Maybe that's going to be his Achilles heel. But I'm predicting God and karma are going to get Barack Obama. You know, you can't control everything. You think you can in politics. I used to think that, but you can't. You just can't. Do you have one of my songs up, Jake? I just want everybody to know that what? All right. We're gonna start your music out this morning with Bob Dylan, Mr. Tambourine Man, on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
Let's get our first traffic report this morning. Denise, what's going on out there in traffic?
There was a little bit not working, huh? It's mic 3.
Your mic's
There
working
you go.
now.
All right. Well, good deal. When I was coming in this morning, it seemed a little bit busier for like 5:45. So, but really, there's no problems out there. There weren't any work crews out there, so nothing really to slow anybody down. No reason for anybody to be late for work this morning. Anyway, it doesn't mean they're going to start off with a good day. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
Was it? Did you do anything exciting this weekend?
Nah, I did the regular.
I did see a picture of your granddaughter in a UK bucket. I believe you posted maybe on Friday. That was awfully cute.
Yep. Riley should be the spokesperson for UK from her bucket.
Absolutely. She didn't have any cheerleading pom-poms, but she looked awfully cute in that bucket. You didn't give her a bath in that bucket, did you? She just was playing in it?
She was just playing in the bucket.
Well,
but she's a cutie. She came over and visited last. It's amazing how grandchildren. You got any grandchildren?
I do not. I don't.
Grandchildren are better than kids
Why is that?
because they just are.
They
They replace children.
Well, you don't
It's
have
like
to.
it's like you don't care about your kids anymore. It's like, bring me my grandkid. That's all I want.
Do you think it's because when you're a grandparent, you can spoil them? You don't have to worry about doing anything. You don't have to really discipline them. I mean, you do, but you don't have to be as hard on them as you are on your kids. When your kids are little and you're all stressed out, things are different.
I get mad at my daughter when she disciplines Riley. Riley does not deserve any discipline.
Never?
Never.
Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine how rotten she'd be if that were the case? Mom's got to discipline her a little bit.
I don't think so. How about this, folks? Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez said Obama's a good guy and he'd probably vote for him if he was an American. Said Obama is a decent fella, and he also said that he wants to start fresh with America. I say BS. Who cares about Chavez? I don't care about Chavez. General John Allen was on 60 Minutes last night. I don't know if you saw it. I could care less about Arnold. I turned Arnold off. I did not care about Arnold.
I didn't see that until this morning, actually.
But General Allen says he's mad as hell about these quote-unquote green-on-blue attacks. And he says we're going to get after this. It reverberates everywhere across the United States. You know we're willing to sacrifice a lot for this campaign, but we're not willing to be murdered for it. It was amazing to me to hear Karzai come on and say he's upset with American policy and everything in Afghanistan. But the crux of the 60 Minutes report, folks, is this. All the Al-Qaeda and all the Taliban are coming straight back into Afghanistan after 11 years, America's longest war, as if we had never been there. And you know that base that we built? You watch. When we leave, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda will take over that base. They will kill all the Afghan, official military, and they'll control the base. You watch. That's what's going to happen. We have built a base with, let me see, it takes care of like 20,000 troops. You watch. Al-Qaeda and Taliban will take over that base when we leave. Afghanistan has been one big freaking waste of time, money, and resources. It is the epitome of arrogance. It is the epitome of bad American policy. And we just keep on trucking through it. Just got 70,000 troops still there. Iraq, another mess. The head of Iraq, he's talking Ahmadinejad, going over and visiting Iran. Mortal enemies, but boy, they got that common enemy now in the United States. It's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury, my newsletter, I am going to increase the number of historical items that I have on my newsletter because I get so much requests for history, and we were only doing one little blurb, so we're having all kinds of extra history. By the way, I heard this morning I bought an audio book that I'm listening to, and I did not realize the first and only presidential election in an odd year was 1789. 1789. And did you know the Electoral College is not even mentioned in the Constitution? And we have one. Thomas Jefferson is the only president to found a university, University of Virginia. Who was the only president to have been a professor at a women's college? Woodrow Wilson taught government at Bryn Mawr College outside of Philadelphia. Of course, he later became president of Princeton. That's where Petraeus apparently wants to go. Only one president earned a postgraduate degree. George W. Bush, Mr. MBA. Ha! And he was still stupid. Which president dropped out of Princeton and graduated from Harvard and was awarded an honorary degree from Yale? That would be JFK. How you like that? Got a great joke for you. An Irishman who had a little too much to drink is driving home from the city one night, and of course his car's weaving all over the road. And a cop pulls him over and says to the driver, "Where have you been?" "Well, I've been at the pub, of course," slurred the drunk. "Well," says the cop, "it looks like you've had quite a few drinks this evening." "I did all right," the drunk said with a smile. "Did you know," said the cop, standing straight and folding his arms across his chest, "that a few intersections back, your wife fell out of your car?" "Oh, thank heaven," sighed the drunk. "For a minute there, I thought I'd gone deaf."
Okay.
Have you ever fallen out of a car? Jeff Ruby knows what that's like.
No, I have not ever fallen out of a car. I did hear, though, that there was an accident this weekend where a woman did that, and her passenger actually was, I guess, somewhat out of the car. It was a car accident. She drug him along, so that was local.
In pop culture, the Babylon 5 star Michael O'Hara has died at the age of 60, less than a week after a heart attack and falling into a coma. Weekend box office, Hotel Transylvania, $43 million, the most money ever earned by a movie in September. Unbelievable.
What was the name of it?
Hotel Transylvania. Looper, $21.2 million. My wife and I saw that movie Saturday night, and I give it a thumbs up. Looper is really good. I'm not even into the sci-fi type movies, but it is really good. End of Watch, $8 million. Trouble with the Curve, $7.5 million. House at the End of the Street. I know so many of you want to go to see a horror movie. I do not get horror movies at all.
It's October.
$7.2 million. House at the End of the Street. Lindsay Lohan was assaulted by Christian LaBelle in her New York hotel room after he allegedly took pictures of her on his cell phone. He threw her on the bed, tried to choke her, and a friend pulled him off of her. He was arrested. He's an employee of Congressman John Shimkus of Illinois. All these bad guys coming out of Illinois. Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, he did his 60 Minutes. He said he married 2 same-sex couples when he was governor. Says he doesn't know who he'll vote for election. He didn't tell Maria he was running for a second term. She read it in the newspaper. That's really smart. You know what we found out about Arnold? Arnold is a jackass.
Yes.
Arnold was a jackass. Having a baby with the help, turning into a liberal sap, not being able to keep his woman. Arnold, we found out, was a loser and is a loser. I can't stand Arnold Schwarzenegger anymore, and I was a fan. Am I a little too strong? Maybe, but who cares? Do we have another song yet up, Jake? Dr. Hook, cover of Rolling Stone. This is a classic on Class X Radio. It's the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Did you see Fox News screw up? You know, I don't understand why these jackwagons cover every one of these carjacking, police chases. Well, they finally got their comeuppance on Friday A man who had been involved in a 100-mile-per-hour car chase and was being filmed by a helicopter shot himself live on Fox News. Good job, guys. Way to capture that.
Wow.
Shepard Smith came on the air and apologized. And if you're obsessed with Kate Middleton, the Huffington Post reports that a Danish magazine Say Og Her, pronounce, here, I'm going to help you out here, capital S-E, space O-G, capital H-E-R, has apparently ran completely nude photos of the British princess. Uh-oh. It just keeps getting better and better, or worse, so to speak, for the royal couple. We come back. More Radio Superbity on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Give us an update on the traffic, Denise.
Well, I'm checking out the cameras, and really things looking pretty good so far. Just picking up as normal through the Cut in the Hill in northern Kentucky, but no problems right now. So everybody's off smooth sailing so far. Anyway, that's good news.
I like when there's no bad traffic. It's going to rain tonight, folks, but it's good because my Cowboys will be playing in Dallas and it won't be raining. Lindsay Lohan takes aim at Dr. Phil for, basically airing a show of her mother Dinah when she appears to be drunk. Good for Lindsay. She tweeted, Dr. Phil, you should be ashamed of yourself. What kind of man takes advantage of a woman in her most vulnerable state? You are a fraud. Amen. Dr. Phil is a jackwagon of the highest measure. I mean, I remember when he intervened in, I forget the stars, it was Britney Spears' life. And then he revealed publicly, he's supposed to be a psychiatrist. He revealed publicly these personal disclosures from Britney Spears. I can't stand Dr. Phil. Can you say overrated? I can say overrated. Get this. These are the stars. This is amazing. These are the stars who do not have a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. This is incredible. Woody Allen,
Really?
Dan Aykroyd, Sean Connery, Robert De Niro, Clint Eastwood, Diane Keaton, George Lucas, Al Pacino, Robert Redford, Denzel Washington, and Julia Roberts. None of them have a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. That's amazing.
It is amazing. I would never imagine.
Clint Eastwood and my buddy Al Pacino are the two
But
favorite actors of the Bulldog.
Robert Redford, though? Nothing?
Nothing.
Wow.
Justin Bieber got sick, vomited on stage twice Saturday night, the opening date of his tour in Phoenix. He later tweeted that the milk was bad. Things just keep happening to the old Justin Bieber. I tell you, I don't get these Hollywood types. Their lives seem more messed up than anybody's. In local news, Michelle Obama is going to come tomorrow and speak at the Duke Energy Center doing a grassroots event at 2 p.m. Tickets were distributed beginning Saturday, and the First Lady will encourage organization and communities. You know what I can't stand about the President and the First Lady? How they handle the black issue. I saw a picture of Michelle Obama campaigning with blacks, and, Barack Obama did the same thing when he hung out with the NBA players, is they talk out of both sides of their mouths. When they campaign with the black voters, they're like, hey, man, we're all blacks together, we're all buddies, we have that bond, we're blacks. And then they go out there and they try to sell their stuff to everybody else, too. It amazes me. Can you imagine if Mitt Romney, when he was campaigning in front of white people, said, hey, man, we're whitey. This cracks me up. Early voting begins tomorrow and ends the Friday before Election Day. The voter registration deadline is October 9th. And the latest, this is a public policy poll, which is a liberal poll. Obama's only up 4%, 49-45, and 13% are undecided. For all of you that thinks Obama was going to win Ohio, yeah, right. I'm telling you, God and karma are going to take out Barack Obama. He is going to lose. The good Lord has had enough of Barack Obama. And I cracked up listening to John Kerry on the news say that Barack Obama hasn't had as much time to prepare for the debate because he has a day job. BS. His day job's been campaigning. Susan G. Komen, Race for a Cure. Around 19,000 people participated in Saturday's event. I hope that you ran well. The shot Covington police officer, Specialist Mark Richardson, was shot allegedly by 26-year-old Farrah Wilson. Guess who called me? Somebody from the Wilson family. I might be representing this guy. So I'm not going to say any more about it at this time. Comair. They're shutting down, folks. And not only are they shutting down and all these people lose their job, employees did not receive their paychecks on time as a cyber attack on PNC Bank interfered with their pay. That's going to be my next excuse. I won't pay my employees. That was a cyber attack. Sorry about that. UC Board of Trustee member Margaret Buchanan has resigned from the UC Board in an attempt to avoid a conflict of interest as a trustee and publisher of the daily newspaper. Hello! Didn't she have that conflict before she took the position? Yes. Should she have ever been on the board? No. And with the firing of Williams, see, they now have all these, the Enquirer hasn't covered squat. You mean to tell me that the Enquirer hasn't been able to get behind the scenes and dig out what really happened there? You know what, folks? The Enquirer sucks. They copied and pasted, Jim Hanna did of the Enquirer, a story about Nicole Howe, a previous teacher that I represented, who was innocent, where they said, she allegedly had sex 4 or 5 times. And they attributed that to the Sarah Jones story and never even apologized. They don't even apologize. Can you imagine that? They print a story connected to the Nicole Howe case, attribute it to the Sarah Jones case. We complain. Jim Hanna not only doesn't even respond, they don't even apologize. We're still waiting on the apology. Journalism. It's gone. It's absolutely gone. Covington 911 shuts down. It merged with the Kenton County's Dispatch Center Sunday, and the move is expected to save millions, but dispatchers worry about response times because Kenton dispatchers aren't familiar with Covington's small streets. Yeah, we'll see. I'm assuming they're going to have some Covington dispatchers there. Hello. Teen arrested for trying to run over a police officer. A 19-year-old Cincinnati man attempted to run over a bicycle officer in Walnut Hills Sunday night when he crashed his car into a utility pole. Innocent till proven guilty. That's what I say. Innocent till proven guilty. In sports, how about Homer Bailey on Friday night? Pitching an incredible game. Let me see. Somebody reached on an error, and I think there was a walk. Other than that, a perfect game for Homer Bailey. Other than that, first no-hitter since Tom Browning's no-hitter for the Reds, the 15th in club history. The 7th in club history, the 15th in club history, and it's the 7th this year. There, I finally got my numbers right in my head. Bikini Basketball League. How you like this? There's going to be a Bikini Basketball League, Miami Spice, New York Knockouts, Hollywood Hotties, Chicago Desire. The league is looking for players, coaches, photographers, editors, and owners. There you go, Jake. You can be a photographer in the Bikini League of the NBA.
There you go. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sitting here laughing. I can't imagine running. It's one thing to play volleyball in a bikini. I mean, they're jumping up and down, but basketball would be interesting.
During pregame warm-ups, receiver Aldrick Robinson and safety Brandon Merriweather of the Redskins collided, and both were injured, and both were unable to play. Isn't that nice? Andy Dalton threw 2 touchdown passes, ran for a score, connected with A.J. The guy covering A.J. Green could not. I watched the whole game. Could not cover him. Dalton was 20 of 31 for 244. And you know why the Jaguars suck? Because we gave him our offensive coordinator from 2 years ago, Bartkowski. He is the Jaguars' offensive coordinator. Guess what NFL team has the lowest scoring team in the NFL? The Jaguars. That's hilarious. The Cowboys play the Bears tonight at 8:30 on ESPN. That's pretty nice. The Reds keep winning. 96 wins. They're 10 up on St. Louis, but they're a game behind the Nationals for the number 1 place in the playoffs. Reds game today, 8:15 at the Cardinals. Bronson is on the mound. Falcons 30, Panthers 28. We come back. I'm going to give you the NFL scores, and I got to comment on some high school and college football scores from the weekend. But before then, we give you the McCoys, the Ohio State song, Hang On Sloopy on Class X Radio.
Class X.
This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. My buddy Chuck Holbrook lived out in Old Hollywood, and he says that to get a star, they have to fill out an application and promise by making a signed pledge they will show up for the ceremony. So you want to know, you want to like Robert Redford, Al Pacino, Clint Eastwood, and Julia Roberts even more? They're like, I'm not going to do that. That's called being cool. Denise, give us an updated traffic report.
Well, things are slowing down, especially just in northern Kentucky. You know, we'll see how the rain holds out since it's supposed to have showers off and on through the day. But right now, pretty slow as you're heading in from around Dixie on down to the bridge. It's about 15 minutes. And then just up around the Ronald Reagan Merge, slowing down a little bit. And 471 just heading in across the bridge. No accidents, though. So right now, with the roads dry, everything is moving along pretty well.
I want to report on some college football games. First of all, I watched South Carolina beat Kentucky 38-17. Let's fire Joker Phillips now. Joker Phillips sucks. And why isn't Patrick Tolles playing? Every quarterback they've tried has sucked. And there's Patrick Tolles, 6'5", big old boy, knows how to win, and they redshirt him. And apparently, according to the newspaper and the Courier Journal that I read, his father's saying there is thought of him transferring. Can you unredshirt a guy? I want to know if you can unredshirt a guy. If you can unredshirt a guy, get Tolles in there the next game. It's that simple. Ohio State beat Michigan State, of course. I just wanted to comment on that. Urban Meyer is going to have Ohio State winning again, obviously. All the local teams won. Miami beat Akron. You already know that. UC beat Virginia Tech on an incredible pass. And I had to comment on this game. West Virginia beat Baylor 70-63. Geno Smith had 8 touchdown passes, completing 88% of his passes. Folks, 70-63 football. No defense. Alabama beat Ole Miss 33-14. I love watching Alabama. I've become an Alabama fan, and they're just going to win the national title every year. It's just, you might as well just hand it to them. Also, St. X beat Elder, but Elder gave them a hell of a game in high school football. My Pioneers lost for the first time by 1 point against Campbell County. You got to admire Campbell County. In the last seconds, they went for 2 for the win instead of 1 for the tie. And they accomplished that. Cooper lost to Connor. That's an upset. But high school football, college football, I love all football. Yesterday, Falcons 30, Panthers 28, Redskins 24, Buccaneers 22, Vikings 20, Lions 13. The Lions have gone backwards. Stafford sucks. Texans 38, Titans 14, Patriots 52, Bills 28, Chargers 37, Chiefs 20. Chiefs, the most overrated team of all time. Every year they're going to be better. Hell, they don't ever do anything. Rams 19, Seahawks 13. I hate the Seahawks. Cardinals 24, Dolphins 21. Eagles 19, Giants 17. Here I am rooting for Philadelphia. That was weird, but I had to. NHL. Players met with the NHL for the 3rd consecutive day, discussing safety, drug testing, medical care, player movement. Money was not discussed. It was called productive. They've already canceled October. The NHL season hangs in the balance. Europe wins the Ryder Cup. 14.5 to 13.5. Before the final 2 matches, it was tied at 13-13. Brad Keselowski won at Dover, holding off Jeff Gordon. So you have all the sports that you need. You don't need any more sports than that. You know what I'm saying? That's all the sports that you need. We cover everything that's important. What are some of my other observations? When I ran for president in 2016, Prankster suggested, by the way, Prankster keeps calling up 700 WLW and yelling. Apparently, he actually has gotten on the air several times. Bulldog for president. God, I bet you it's driving them all nuts. Prankster suggests that I promise a free Bulldog and 40 acres for every family. That's better than Huey Long's chicken in every pot. You know what? When you run for president, you got to promise something. I guess I could do that. A Bulldog and 40 acres for every American family. Friday, I went suit shopping with my godfather, Larry Grouse.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It went terrible. Let me tell you something. We went to Joseph Banks, and it was completely clear to me that he was buying because he said when he heard I went to the Men's Warehouse, he was going to take care of me. He did give me a pair of his cufflinks. He had me pick out a pair of his cufflinks, and I picked a pair of cufflinks. That's kind of cool. I got a pair of my godfather's cufflinks.
There you go.
But we went over to Joseph Beth, and we're picking out these fancy suits, 3 suits for the price of one. Same thing as Men's Warehouse. Then they throw in all the altering charges. Larry picks out socks for me, a tie, these 3 suits, all these things.
So what was so bad?
And then all of a sudden, he's sitting down, and I'm at the cash register, and I'm paying for my clothes.
That's the part that was bad, huh?
He
Okay.
doesn't pay a nickel for my suits. And it was clear to me. Thank God I took money with me. I got stiffed by my godfather. Now, the reason why he did this is going to remain between me, and Chuck.
Oh.
The excuse that he gave was incredible. And again, it is
And
going to
you're not gonna
remain. It is
that's
going to
not
remain
fair.
between me, Chuck, and my godfather. At least on the air. I'll tell you guys off the
Oh,
air,
okay.
so you'll get to know something off the air about it. So,
There you go. But was
Beanie
it
Babies.
fun?
Remember the Beanie Baby craze?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I bought every freaking Beanie Baby that you could buy. All those expensive special ones. And, of course, they're not worth anything, so they're sitting in storage. And I saw them in there, and I pulled them out for Riley to play with. She could care less.
Yeah.
I have every Beanie Baby animal on the face of the earth, and Riley preferred to play with the plastic boxes. The few expensive ones come in.
Well, yeah, but how old is she?
She's 17 months.
Yeah, but that babies like that at that age just always like the boxes and the packaging. It's kind of like Christmas. They could care less about it.
I want to know where the Romney commercials. I watched television all day Sunday, and I did not see one single Romney commercial. I did see Obama's commercials everywhere. I'm like, hello, hey, Romney, instead of spending money on all those advisors, why don't you spend some damn money on television ads? Now I got to ask an important philosophical question. I finally got my wife to shave my back with the clippers. I actually keep I'm not kidding you, folks. If my back gets hairy, it drives me nuts. And she finally would shave my back. And I got to ask you this. It looked like a damn hayfield. Denise, don't you think men should not have hairy backs, and hairy backs are disgusting?
Yeah, I'm not big on a hairy back. I've seen a few. They look like they're wearing a wool sweater, so and it starts. It does.
Yeah, I
it
know.
does.
That's why I shave. And by the way, I don't even have that hairy of a back. I've seen, like my brother-in-law, Bill. Holy cow, he looks like a gorilla.
Yeah, I've seen that. Swimming in Florida, there's been some men that they look like.
But you got to shave your back. And she wouldn't shave my back. She finally did.
Did it gross her out? Is that
And
why
I
she
didn't do
wouldn't
anything wrong, and she painted her toenails black. And I didn't even do anything wrong.
Oh, she painted them black?
Yes.
Is
my
that
God.
a punishment to you?
I didn't do anything wrong, and I got painted black toenails.
But she shaved your back.
She saved my back.
That's probably a bigger thing than black toenails.
I mean, I don't know. Water rates in the tri-state are going up 71%. How you like that, folks? 71%. As Church Lady says, isn't that special? Northern Kentucky Manufacturing, the next decade, they claim they're going to need 6,250 skilled manufacturer workers. Not 6,251. Not 6,249. They're going to need 6,250 skilled manufacturer workers. Consumer spending's up 0.05%. But guess what, folks? Due to gas prices. If it wasn't the increase of gas prices, it would only be up 0.01%. Isn't that nice? My Barnes & Noble purchases from Saturday night, I like to share these so you know what the Bulldog's watching and reading. Kenneth Davis's book on DVD, Don't Know Much About the American Presidents. I'm listening to it in my truck. I bought a PBS documentary about Bill Clinton. And I also watched that Reels Channel production of the Kennedys. Katie Holmes played Jackie. I never saw it, so I thought I'd watch it. China Boy, did I learn more about China over the weekend in the Wall Street Journal. Do you know that they have state-owned and sponsored capitalism? In other words, China owns tens of thousands of businesses that they protect that they're making money on. Barack Obama's kind of economy. Barack Obama's like, man, I only own GM. I mean, all I got's GM. Man, you mean I could own 10,000 of these things? Yep, people wonder why we can't compete with China. The government owns the damn businesses and then protects them. Book review. The Man Who Saved the Union by H.W. Brands, a biography about Grant. Grant was a great man. He was a greater general than Robert E. Lee. Sorry, folks, he was. And those of you that want to say the mainstream media protects Barack Obama, guess what? New York Times front page Sunday. Shifting reports on Libya killings may cost Obama. And they hit him hard, folks. New York Times, front page. Now for your listening pleasure, Mighty Quinn. How you like that? From Manfred Mann, Mighty Quinn the Eskimo on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
Denise, give us an updated traffic report.
Well, I just want to let everybody know there is an accident. It's on 125 in Claremont County, right at Amelia Olive Branch Road. So a lot of people traveling in that direction. It could really slow them down because it's not like it's a big old major highway, so it might be a little difficult to get around. The rest of the traffic slowing down. You're looking already 15 minutes from Dixie on down to the bridge on northbound 7175. You're slow around the 74 merge on 75 heading northbound, southbound 75 around the Ronald Reagan merge, and around 275 at the loop. And the same with 71. So no accidents on the interstates, so that's good news. And, you know, it's supposed to rain off and on today, so we'll kind of have to see if we can get through that this morning. So hopefully that's the case. But right now, no accidents, like I said, on the interstates.
That's always good news. I have sad news to report that we lost Army Sergeant Jonathan A. Golnitz, 28, of Lakehurst, New Jersey. Army Staff Sergeant Orion N. Sparks, 29, of Tucson, Arizona. They died September 26 in Afghanistan of injuries suffered when an insurgent wearing a suicide vest detonated the device near their patrol. These soldiers were assigned to the 1st Squadron, 91st Cavalry Regiment, 173rd Airborne Brigade, combat team out of Schweinfurt, Germany. That brings the military deaths in Afghanistan this year to 261. The deaths total since 2001 are 2,125. And the total deaths in Iraq, 4,486. We've only had one in Iraq this year. We have now lost 6,000 and about 600. Can't do the math here. 2,125 and 486. So about 6,600 men in Iraq and Afghanistan. And Bulldog Nation just wants to give a salute and a prayer to the Marines, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the National Guard. And we just want to express our gratitude for all the men who have served, lost their lives, lost a limb. And if you didn't and you just served, God bless you and your family. Dusty Baker's back tonight. How do you like that? Dusty Baker returns to manage the Reds. I don't know, Chris Spire's doing a pretty good job. Let's have a manager controversy. Lawrence Tynes last night, the kicker for the New York Giants. You know what? Why do you, if you got to kick a 25-yard field goal, I understand icing the field goal kicker. But if it's over 50 yards, why would you call a timeout right before he kicks it when it's over 50 yards? Philadelphia got lucky that he missed it twice. On local news, the Solid Rock 52-foot statue of Jesus was dedicated. That's a big statue of Jesus. I wonder if the bigger the Jesus, the better the Jesus. I don't think so. I think Jesus would be offended of this gaudy statue, and maybe that's why it got struck by lightning. If it is struck by lightning again, would that not be a message that, hey, don't rebuild the Jesus again?
I would almost think so, yeah.
Obama administration wants to provide Egypt with $450 million in quote-unquote emergency funding. Do you believe that? I find that incredible. And, of course, later in the program, when I get into some serious stuff, I'll elaborate. Also, House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Peter King is calling for the resignation of UN Ambassador Susan Rice, who said on her multiple statements on TV that Libya, this was all, no big deal. This is just all based on the video. Yeah, right. How about this California Pee Wee League scandal? The Pop Warner Red Cobras football team in California, allegedly their coaches have been accused of offering cash bounties at $20 for each 10 to 11-year-old student player to get big hits on other players. That's funny. You know what? I'd probably do that too if I was a little Pop Warner coach. So maybe it's good that I'm not. The White House, we missed this on Friday, but Friday afternoon, the White House confirmed that Obama and Netanyahu spoke on a wide range of security issues, and they're all good to go. Yeah, right. Now, I'm excited about this because I've been waiting, and I predicted this, that a parent of one of those individuals who died in Libya would speak out sooner or later. And this is from the Facebook page of Cheryl Croft Bennett, the mother of the ex-SEAL. Don't want to ever politicize the loss of my son in Libya, but it has been 16 days, and the FBI is yet to get to Benghazi to begin their investigation. Apparently, they have made it to Tripoli, but haven't been allowed to enter Benghazi. Meanwhile, the diplomatic outpost where Tyrone and former SEAL Glenn Darty died was not and is not secured. Absolutely unacceptable. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, you got to ask this question. The consulate was not in Benghazi where Ambassador Stevens was murdered and tortured. Was not up to the appropriate standards for a consulate or an embassy. Didn't have the appropriate security. You got to ask yourself this question, why? Furthermore, you got to ask yourself this question. How can it be so bad that our FBI can't get there, but yet we were allowing our ambassador to drive around there like no big deal? And remember what Barack Obama said, we'll get our justice. We'll get our justice. 16 days and counting, Mr. President. I wanted to quote, what is that movie where they, Al Pacino, Justice for All. When the lawyer that he had go to represent a client of his didn't show up and the guy died. And Pacino goes, don't you even care? Don't you even care? That's what I feel like saying to Barack Obama. Don't you even care? He doesn't. He doesn't care. All he's been doing since this has been campaigning. And no one will ever convince me the way to win re-election as president is not campaign. Do a good job. If you do a good job as president, you don't have to do any fundraising. You don't have to do any campaign appearances. Just do a good job. Does Barack Obama care? No, he doesn't. Now for your listening pleasure. I'm playing some good oldies, aren't I? Creedence Clearwater Revival. My favorite CCR song. Have you ever seen rain on a sunny day? Of course you have. On Class X Radio.
Someone told me long ago, coming down.
John Fogerty's announced that he's going to be reuniting with CCR. How do you like that? That'll be good stuff. Some events that we missed over the weekend that I want to cover. The Department of Justice apparently obtained 37,616 court orders for information about phone calls in 2011, an increase of 47% from 2009. That ought to scare the hell out of you folks, because let's say those are all legitimate. If they're not legitimate, that ought to scare the hell out of you. If they are legitimate, it ought to scare the hell out of you. Why do we need to be checking that many phone records? Could it be that Barack Obama just keeps letting bad guys come in our country? So then we can check out our phone records. 38-year-old Damon A. Thibodeau was wrongly convicted of raping and killing his 14-year-old step-cousin in 1997. Has been released from Louisiana's death row as of yesterday after 15 years of incarceration. That is sad. Pennsylvania poll. You ready for this? Everybody talking about Pennsylvania was Obama land. Obama 47%, Romney 45%, according to the Tribune Review. Take that, Barack Obama. Ha ha ha. I've already covered what the New York Times had to say about good old Libya and Barack Obama. And in history, over the weekend, I had to just mention this yesterday in history. 1452, Gutenberg's Bible was published. Do you know that the printing press and Gutenberg's invention was considered the number one historical happening in history because how the printing press and books, widespread reading, changed the world? I think Newton was second. When we come back, more Radio Superbity on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. I watched the news this weekend and was touched by the story of Army Specialist Dylan Farmer, the Glen Estee grad returning from his first tour in Afghanistan yesterday, where he had received a Purple Heart for injuries sustained after an IED exploded near him, and he helped out his buddies. And, man, the guy has 3 or 4 injuries, and including he can't close his hand all the way, his left hand. But he is a hero, and they allowed him to return as a hero. It was pretty good stuff. Do you know which this is a great history story. You know which president once suggested cow dung as a weapon for a duel? True story. In 1838, Whig state rep Abraham Lincoln experienced a bitter campaign with Jake Shields, a Democrat. His losing opponent felt that Lincoln, with his attacks on Shields' integrity, had besmirched his character. There's a word for you, besmirched. He challenged Lincoln to a duel, and the one challenged had the right to choose the weapons. Lincoln said cow dung at 20 paces. The duel was called off. How do you like that? Cow dung for a duel. Of course, you all know that I'm somebody that believes that dueling should be brought back because there are times when your honor is so besmirched that you should be allowed, in my humble opinion, to fight a duel. Why not?
Cow dung, no.
Let's give us a traffic update.
You know what? We're still just working on that accident in Claremont County on 125 at Amelia Olive Branch. You need to watch for that. Right now, slow from Buttermilk on down to the bridge on northbound 7175. 25 minutes right now is what it's going to take you to pretty much travel that distance on 75. Still kind of slow around that 74 merge. That runs on up to around Mitchell. And then southbound 75, pretty much slowing down there from Lockland down to the Ronald Reagan merge. 71. It's slow in all those typical spots. 71 slow around 275 on down to Ronald Reagan. And then on 275 heading northbound, you're slow there. It's about a 15-minute delay there from Loveland, Madeira, all the way up to 71. So, I don't know. Cow dung, I'm still sitting here thinking, how do you have a duel with cow dung? Do you think you, throw it like a Frisbee at each other?
Well, having thrown cow dung, being a farm boy, cow dung, which is frozen, or cow dung, which is a few days old, can be deadly. It's hard as a rock. Really?
Frozen. Did you ever freeze it? I mean,
no, it falls on the ground in the middle of the winter and it's frozen.
I'm like, well, I can.
No, you don't put cow dung in the freezer.
Well, I'm thinking if you were going to have a duel with
Where'd you grow up? Fort Thomas?
I did, but you know what? My grandpa had a farm, and we had to shovel, and we called it manure, and we had a big old mound of it behind the barn, so it wasn't anything that I'm familiar with it. I may have grown up in Fort Thomas.
I had to clean out horse stalls every single day on the farm. It used to drive me nuts.
Wow.
The horses just would never stop pooping. It's like doing the dishes. You had to do it every day. Drove me nuts. A latest Iowa poll. Obama 49%, Romney 45%. I'm telling you, these polls are all tightening. And I agree with Rick Santorum, who over the weekend said on NBC News the GOP must back Todd Aiken of Missouri if they want to retake the Senate. Of course, everybody ran from him. Ugh. Every time you say one little thing that's not perfect, all the establishment, all the good doers run from you. See, that's one thing I don't like about Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is so lily white, so perfect, so that he has no ability to hang with somebody in the trenches. Mitt Romney would not be a kind of guy you'd want in a foxhole with you. You know what I'm talking about. Because he'd be like, oh, you did something wrong. Oh, I better not be with you, man. Oh. This is a funny story from the Huffington Post. I might have to do a virtual conversation on this one, although I have no idea what their voice sounds like. Former New York Governor David Patterson and his wife of 19 years, Michelle, have separated. They claim the split is amicable and mutual. Remember, this is the blind guy. Mutual, as both had already admitted to previous extramarital affairs. Hey, man, I know I cheated on you. Well, I cheated on you, too. Well, okay, we both cheated on each other. Well, let's just separate up. Yeah, because I did cheat on you. Well, I know, but you cheated on me. But I cheated on you, too. I know you did. Fighting over who cheated on who the most. So there you have it. The cheaters, but they agreed that they both cheated, so why not? One did not act like they were better than the other. They were both bad. Bad governor, bad lieutenant governor, bad first lady in New York. Remember, he got busted. You know, he was taking a girl. He's taking a woman to Hotel 6. You know, if you're the lieutenant governor.
Hotel 6.
If you're a lieutenant governor or a governor, you got to at least spring for a Hyatt or a Westin or a Marriott.
Don't you think that maybe if nobody know him at Hotel 6?
Or even a Holiday Inn. But, man, a Hotel 6, if you're the governor, not good. Jeez, oh, Pete. U.S. officials say an effective response by Libyan security guards to a bomb outside the Benghazi-located U.S. consulate in June may have had led to the U.S. putting too much faith in the team. Give me a break. Jeez, oh, Pete. Oh, my God. U.S. going after terrorists. The military is stepping up deployment of Predator drones and Reaper drones in North Africa to go after al-Qaeda offshoot Islamic Maghreb. The group is said to have played a prominent role in the U.S. consulate attack in Libya. How about 60 Minutes last night where we learned that Pakistan just keeps harboring all the bad guys. Al-Qaeda can go over there, they can come back, they can go over, they can come back. Jeez. And what do? We just keep giving them money. You know, I got another promise to you when I'm president in 2016. I will tell you who our enemies are, and I will treat them as our enemies. It's going to be a long list by then, of course, but at least we're not going to mess around with them. You know, Karzai. How about Karzai? He's the most corrupt public president of any government in the world. Karzai. Who cares about Karzai? Let Afghanistan go to the Taliban. Hell, they're going to have it anyway when we leave. British Lieutenant General Adrian Bradshaw, deputy commander of NATO forces in the country, assured, this is in Afghanistan, the public during a news conference that a possible insider attack Saturday night that killed 2 Americans would not break down strong relations with his Afghan allies. Well, you guess what, General? It ought to. It freaking ought to. Karzai on 60 Minutes says, these attacks are sad. This is something I've discussed in detail, something that I bear responsibility for to correct. And he says he's just sad about Americans' policy. What the hell's wrong with our policy? We're there. What do you like about that, Karzai? I don't like our policy. Jeez, oh, Pete. There has been a 92% drop in requests for absentee ballots by military personnel in Virginia. Similar numbers are being reported around the country. It is now apparent the military system for allowing troops to vote while away from home is broken down. And you know what the troops are saying by not voting and not getting an absentee ballot? They're like saying, what the hell? What the hell? All right, when we come back after this great song, I'll have more radio superbity. Our song now is for Randy the Preacher. This is his favorite song, Def Leppard, Pour a Little Sugar on Me, on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
Want to promote the radio station? You can listen to Class X Radio on 88.9 FM in Miami-Town, Ohio, WMWX, WKCX 89.1 FM in Crittenden, Kentucky, the new breed of rock. You can also listen on ClassXRadio.com. Also, Class X is on Facebook. You can listen to the live video simulcast both on the BulldogsNation.com and ClassXRadio.com. Remember, I write a column for the Highland County Press, and also my daily blog and newsletter goes on the BulldogNation.com and EricDeters.com. And you know what? We've changed a few things around the blog. We're going to have some more history. We're moving all those economic and events to the back just because it just seems to me that if you want those things, you should just be able to go to the back. It's just easier. They won't disrupt the flow of the news that we're going to report every day. Also, if you have an idea for the show, text me at 859-250-2527, or you can also email me at eric@ericdeters.com. If you'd like some information about my law office, you can find that information on ericdeters.com. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Bull Law, and that is with 3 L's. Not 1, not 2, but 3 L's. Did you hear this story out of Bangladesh? Well, first, before we get to Bangladesh, let's get a traffic report from Denise Johnson.
Well, there's an accident, a new accident. They cleared the one in Claremont County, but this one is on West Mitchell, right at Spring Grove. So if you're heading towards 75, you might have a little bit of a problem getting on there. Southbound 71, you're pretty heavy there from Fields Erdel on down to Pfeiffer, so you've got some delays in that area. Southbound 75 from Allen Road on down to the 275 merge. And then again from Lockland on down to Paddock. Northbound 7175, you're sitting on those brakes there and there. I said it again, didn't I? You're pretty solid, pretty much from Buttermilk all the way down to the bridge. It's about 25 minutes is the travel time there. So just that one accident, no other accidents on the interstates. And again, just waiting to see if some of that rain kicks up. But the interstate's looking pretty normal.
I want to just report, and you've heard me say that I'm sick and tired of coddling Muslims. You know, because the Muslims are the only ones with a radical arm that want to blow up things. Now, I got to ask you this. In Bangladesh, the Muslims were angry over a derogatory photo of the Quran on Facebook. So what happens? Thousands of Muslims set fires to at least 10 Buddhist temples and 40 homes. Now, what if some publication made a Pope joke and 10,000 Catholics went and burned 10 Muslim temples and 40 Muslim homes? What would be the reaction? Are you kidding me? It's like, it's okay if the Muslims do it. It's not okay if the Muslims do it. Let me tell you something, folks. Let's cause some controversy. Muslims are crazy freaking people. And I'm not talking about the Muslims that might be peace-loving Muslims here, except those in Dearborn, Michigan. But they're crazy, folks. The way they operate and think is foreign to Western civilization. Look at the mobs of people in Libya and Egypt and Syria, every place in the Middle East. They're crazy. They don't value life. They blow themselves up. They burn things. They destroy things. They're not like Western Europeans or Americans. Sorry, that's just the way it is. And don't give me all this diversity crap. Guess what? Talk to France about their diversity program. Not all diversity is good, folks. Some diversity is bad. The kind of diversity that destroys a nation is bad. And that's what we have. Something we ought to be concerned about. I don't want to see more mosques built in the United States. I don't want to see more Muslims coming to the United States. I don't want Muslims taking over major cities. It will be a problem. It's a national security problem. That's the facts, Jack. They're not like us. Just the way it is. They don't think like us. And whatever happened to the integration of people when they come to America? The Italians had to. The Irish had to. The Eastern Europeans and Germans had to. No! Let's have Hispanic. Press 1 for Spanish. Press 2 for English. Hell, they even get the number 1 button, not the number 2 button. We have to have Hispanic phone books? Are you kidding me? Are we going to start having Muslim phone books? Press 1 if you're Hispanic. Press 2 if you're a Muslim. Press 3 if you're a red-blooded American from any European descent. I'm telling you, it makes me go insane. Where did we lose the idea of a melting pot? To be a melting pot, everybody has to melt into one pot. I know I am right. They want to come here and get all the benefits of America, but keep themselves completely separate from America. Not melt in. No. Stay the same. I'm getting fired up, folks. Tuesday, tomorrow, marks the 10th anniversary of the beginning of the attacks. Remember these in Washington? Killer Lee Boyd Malvo. You know, the guy that started shooting people from the interstates? Oh, yeah. He urges victims' family members to forget about him and urges them not to let his past actions torture them any longer. Oh, my God. You know what? Death penalty, too good for that guy. They should tie his genitals to a battery and torture him. Folks, sometimes torture is warranted. For that guy, there should be torture. Tell me I'm wrong. Lee Boyd Malvo deserves torture. Speaking of torture, Governor Moonbeam Jerry Brown signed a law that would allow individuals sentenced to life without parole for murder when they were under 18 to ask a judge to reconsider their sentence once they've served at least 15 years. Incredible. Now, of course, the good thing is that allows the judge to reconsider, so hopefully the judges are able to discern from maybe some circumstances, I can't imagine them, but some circumstance where maybe that's warranted versus not. If you're 17 years old and you pull out a gun and you commit a bloody old murder, sorry, try it as an adult, pay the price. We come back, more Radio Superbity, but until then, I leave you. I haven't played this guy yet. You believe it? Cincinnati's own Peter Frampton. Classic on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
Radio Superbity coming at you for another hour and 15 minutes. Denise, do you have an update on the traffic?
No, they still just have that one accident out there, which is good news. One accident, nothing on Colerain. And the accident is on Mitchell. It's Spring Grove, and traffic is just slow. And a lot of your typical spots, it's a little lighter than normal on 75. Normally, it's pretty slow all the way from, like, Union Center. But really, right now is slow from around Allen Road down to 275, and then just through the Lachlan Split on down to the Ronald Reagan Merge. 7175 is pretty much still just about 25 minutes from Buttermilk to the bridge, and 471 slow from right around Memorial Parkway into downtown.
Well, let me tell you something, folks. I was shocked yesterday to watch the football game and see the NFL referees, Mike, what's his name, Huckley or whatever that guy's name, 61 years old. And I tell you right now, he was in shape. But they introduced him, and they gave their colleges. I'm like, what the hell are we introducing NFL referees in their colleges for? Well, the Wall Street Journal over the weekend had some funny stuff. The online buzz about the NFL replacement referee, 66% of the comments were angry. The replacement refs looked like circus clowns out there trying to make calls. It was pathetic. On and on. 4% had relief. Peace out, replacement referees. Back to your youth leagues. 16% had love for replacements. Get this. I love the replacement refs. They had a whole new level of excitement and unpredictability. Honestly, the replacement refs are making for the most entertaining TV in a while. I'm going to miss these guys. Tell me you didn't enjoy the fights. Now, here are some jokes. 14% of the comments were jokes. I prefer experienced refs screwing up calls. Germany and Japan win World War II. Replacement refs 1945. Replacement refs outgoing voicemail message. Sorry I missed your call. Do we really want these guys back on the street? That's some good stuff. The good old replacement refs. And, of course, the real refs screw up just as much as the replacement refs probably. Oh, my God. I don't get it. Did you hear about the Chinese company? It's called Rawls, R-A-L-S. They're planning, this is in Oregon, they plan on suing Obama for what they say is a violation of their Constitution for not allowing them to build wind farms near a U.S. Navy test site in Oregon. They say he violated protections on property ownership and legal process. By the way, all of you that like Bill Clinton like me, let's not forget that the jackwagon sold the Chinese our military technology for our fighter jets, et cetera, et cetera. What the hell was Bill Clinton thinking? What a jackwagon. Police are looking for the man, this is in Auburn, Washington, who went to a drive-thru at Jack in the Box. He's in his early 20s. He fired a shot into the window when the worker asked him to turn his music down. He asked for ranch dressing before firing into the Jack in the Box. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, that's how bad it's become. You need armored vests now in America. I'll bet you the guy was a Muslim. I'll bet you he was a Muslim. I keep waiting to make national news for some of my comments.
Making somebody mad?
But you know what? I'll bet you he is, Jake. I bet you he's a Muslim. All right, instead of playing a song at the end of the break, we're going to play a song in the middle of this segment. This is The Doors. Come on. I can't believe I haven't played The Doors yet. Come on, baby, light my fire on Class X Radio. Smoke a doobie. Listen to some Doors.
It would be untrue.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I am not going to give you a 3-minute organ solo by The Doors. I wonder who thought about, in the middle of the song, we're going to have an organ solo for 3 minutes. Who the hell does a 3-minute organ solo?
Made them do that for a while.
By the way, Bulldog Nation member Ryan is right. He's got a great question. Who the hell is Sloopy? I mean, we got to ask Sloopy to hang on. Who the hell is Sloopy, and why do we want Sloopy to hang on? On Fox News Sunday, Paul Ryan said, quote, "It goes without saying that there is definitely media bias. I think most people in the mainstream media are left of center, and therefore they want a very left of center president versus a conservative president like Mitt Romney." Yeah, it's pretty obvious. This is an excerpt from Romney's A New Course for the Middle East, Wall Street Journal opinion. "Since World War II, America has been the leader of the free world." That is true. "We're unique in having earned that role through conquest, but not through conquest, but through promoting human rights, free markets, and the rule of law. We ally ourselves with like-minded countries, not Muslim countries, expand prosperity through trade, and keep the peace by maintaining a military second to none." Well said, Mitt, with a son named Tag. How do you look at a kid and say, "I'm going to call you Tag"? You know what? Sarah Palin named her kids all weird names, and so did Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. By the way, Bruce Willis is looking a little bit old in the new movie Looper. Of course, people say that I look like Bruce Willis, so maybe I'm looking old too. I don't know.
How old is he, though?
60-something, I guess. It's got to be in his 60s.
I was just going to say it's a little different. Maybe
He's got to be in his 60s. Obama bundler Jeffrey Katzenberg, the CEO of DreamWorks Animation, has helped to raise $7 million for the Obama campaign in the last 5 years. Katzenberg wrote a $2 million check to start Priorities USA Action Super PAC and organized a $15 million George Clooney fundraiser for Obama. Good for you, Katzenberg. Thank you for helping us try to keep Obama president. Latest Rasmussen poll, which is the only polls that count. This is overall the entire country. Obama 48%, Romney 46%, undecided 3%. Remember what the Bulldog says. In the next 40 days, there's going to be some things that happen that are going to prove that God and karma are not on Barack Obama's side. You watch. There's going to be stuff come out, things that are going to happen where the American people are going to say, enough of this guy. Go see 2016. That's my suggestion. I've already mentioned this. Early voting starts tomorrow as Michelle Obama visits Cincinnati. Ohio has 5 weeks of early voting. Why? Because there's just not enough hours in Election Day to vote. Now get this. Mitt Romney. Not only is he not running television commercials, Obama has 108 offices in Ohio. Romney has about 40. Hey, Mitt, you're behind. Unbelievable. We come back. More Radio Superbity and another great song on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Class X Radio. I just want to let everyone know that the 3 songs that I have coming up in the next 3 segments are outstanding. Of course, then again, I haven't played a bad song, have I? No. Getting great feedback from the music that I'm playing. Denise, give us an update on the traffic.
Well, there's an accident on northbound 7175 right around Dixie, and that is on the right shoulder, and you're really just slow from Kyle's. It seems a lot lighter out there. I've kind of gone through all the cameras, and traffic seems to be a lot lighter than normal. So I don't know where everybody is today. It's Monday, taking an extra day off maybe. Southbound 75, really just kind of slow from Lockland on down to Paddock, just around that Ronald Reagan merge. 71, not looking too bad, just really kind of slow around 275 down to Pfeiffer. And then things are even looking a little bit better on 275 heading northbound. So 471, you're on and off your brakes there from Southgate into downtown. But like I said, I don't know. What do you think? It's Monday. People take an extra day off. Need a little extra sleep today?
I don't know, but no bad traffic is a good day. Barack Obama is preparing for his debates in a place called Henderson, Nevada, which is near Vegas, and it's a hoity-toity, richy place. And in fact, it's so hoity-toity, it's like this exclusive, resort. And I'm thinking to myself, why does he need a fancy resort to prepare for a debate? Spend all that money to go to Vegas to prepare for the debate. Of course, what he's doing is he's just chilling and hanging out. I'm sure he's got the whole family there, spending our money. In fact, I saw a report that the Obama family has cost us like nearly $2 billion. Isn't that special? South Carolina Senator Jim DeMint is opposing the suggestion of Illinois Governor, leave it to an Illinois politician, Governor Pat Quinn, who wants the federal government to bail out state pension funds. It would cost trillions of dollars. Now, why should everybody bail out state pension funds? Everybody wants it. Where's that money going to come from, Governor? You jackwagon. Jeez, oh, Pete. Incredible. The Wall Street Journal points out that, the new Treasury Secretary that the Democrats would probably pick, budget expert Erskine Bowles, or White House Chief of Staff Jacob Lew, and they mention a possible Republican option is Columbia University graduate business dean Glenn Hubbard. Glenn Hubbard is an ass. You ought to watch The Inside Job and see how Glenn Hubbard is partially responsible for the housing bubble, the double swap derivatives. He was an ass during his interview for the documentary. He thought it was going to be a friendly interview. Then he soon found out it was like, maybe not so much. Chuck, you point out something really good. When Rocky fought Apollo, Rocky trained in a rat hole gym. Apollo trained in a 5-star hotel. And look what happened. It's very true. You work out better. It's like in your garage. You get the best workout in your garage. Like I go out in my garage. I do have DirecTV so I can watch sports while I'm out there. But it's a concrete floor. I got a heavy bag. And I can just beat the hell out of that heavy bag in my garage. I don't need to go to a 5-star hotel. So when I start training for my second MMA fight against Mayor Mallory, that's where I'm going to train. Mayor Mallory is yet to accept my challenge to do an MMA fight. I'm still waiting for him to do it. Just like last time I got the cop, the good cop, bad lawyer thing going. We'll get the race issue going this time. the Bulldog versus Mayor Mallory. We'll get the liberal versus conservative, the black versus white. Come on, Mal. You know what problem? Mallory couldn't fight an MMA fight because he never takes off one of those suits that he wears all the time. Has anybody seen Mayor Mallory without a suit? The only time somebody said they did is when he did that one show about the undercover bosses. It was the only time he's never been in a suit. Never without a suit. In Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren now apparently is leading Brown. Well, just last week, Brown was leading. It's insane. The Democratic National Committee, see, here's another thing that makes me sick. Sound like Earl Pitts. They talk up who's going to win the debate like they downplay expectations, Oh, Barack Obama's a great debater. He's a lawyer. Ooh, Mitt Romney's a great debater. He's had a lot of practice. If I was debating Barack Obama, I would say, yeah, I'm going to kick his ass in the debate. Come on, talk some smack. Have some confidence. Jeez, oh, Pete. Paul Krugman, in his op-ed piece in the New York Times, said in part, America does not have an entitlements problem. Mainly it has a health cost problem, private as well as public, which must be addressed. You know what we have in the United States, Krugman? We got a Krugman problem. That's what we got. We got a Krugman problem. Obama on the debates. At a campaign event yesterday, Obama said, he's just okay at debating. Romney's a good debater. Hey, Barack Obama, you're not good at anything. You're a lousy president, a lousy debater. A spokesperson said Obama's not been working on zingers to aim at Romney during the debates, but has been working on speaking to the American public clearly about his plan to move the nation forward. By the way, he had a big commercial right before the Bengals game yesterday. You know what he said? Plan number one, create 1 million manufacturing jobs. I got to ask Mr. President a question. What's stopping you, big boy? What's been stopping you the last 4 years to create 1 million manufacturing jobs? Isn't that wonderful? Running for re-election, he says, I'm going to create 1 million manufacturing jobs. What's stopping you, Barack? Knock yourself out. We'll take them now. But no, miraculously, he's going to create 1 million new manufacturing jobs if we re-elect him. And what else did he say? These 4 points were a joke. A complete joke. Oh, domestic energy, he goes, and we're going to reduce our foreign dependency by 25%. And then he stresses, by clean coal. I'm going to bankrupt dirty coal, but by golly, with clean coal, then how come you didn't support the XL pipeline from Canada all the way to New Orleans? He is a lying, phony, deceitful man, and God and karma are going to catch up with him. I believe it to my soul. Obama is nearing a campaign milestone. He's expected to hit 10 million grassroots donations for 2012, most of them less than $200. You know what that tells me? There's 200 million stupid people in the world. And they keep talking about no president's ever been reelected if the unemployment is over 8%. It's not 8%. It's 11% unemployment. The way unemployment was measured for all these years, 11%. Why does Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan let him get away with 8.1% when it's really 11%? Grow some gonads, Ryan and Romney. Grow some gonads. It's 11%. Why do you let him dictate everything? He's driving you nuts by going out there and blaming Libby on a video, doesn't he? He keeps blaming on a video. You ought to go out there and say unemployment's over 11%. No. Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Mitt with a son named Tag. Just remember, folks, you never, ever, ever, ever want Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan in a foxhole with you. They don't know how to fight in the trenches. They're the kind of guys that bring water pistols to a knife fight in a ditch. Oh, man, we brought squirt guns. Oh, there's knives? Yeah, and our knives have metal in them. Oh, we're sorry. It's the typical, another thing that makes me sick is the Tea Party is what got them the 2010 off-presidential year elections. And guess what? They run from those values that make them win, and they water it all down, try and act like they don't want to look too radical. They don't want to look too conservatives, when being conservative is what got them the votes in 2010. Jeez. I need a song. And the song that I'm going to play for you is one of my favorites. One-hit wonder, really. I had a couple songs. This is The Romantics. That's What I Like About You, which in Barack Obama's case is nothing. On Class X Radio. Hey, hey. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury. Since Barack Obama has to go to a 5-star or 6-star or 7-star or 8-star, I don't go to those places, so I don't know what star it is, out there in Henderson, Nevada. I was thinking the first question that ought to come from of course, these moderators for these debates Wednesday and the other debates are all liberals. They don't get a conservative moderator. I hope Mitt Romney asked Barack Obama, or a moderator asked Barack Obama, if he got a massage while he was out in Henderson preparing for the debate to relaxing. And if the answer is yes, you got to have a follow-up question. Mr. President, happy ending? Happy ending, Mr. President? Would that be great if somebody had the guts? Maybe South Park can do this. Maybe South Park will do Barack Obama and Henderson, Nevada justice. We had a break. We come back, more Class X Radio Superbity. He plays the Lone Ranger, and Johnny Depp plays Tonto. Now, to be politically correct in this day and age, they stress they stand more eye to eye than in earlier portrayals. Oh, we can't have the Indian being the sidekick. We got to make the Indian sidekick the equal to the Lone Ranger. Robin is supposed to be the unequal of Batman. That's what a sidekick is. Tonto is supposed to be the unequal of the Lone Ranger. That's what a sidekick is. Chuck Holbrook is not my equal. Just messing with you, Chuck. He's my sidekick. What do you think of this stuff? Aren't sidekicks supposed to be sidekicks and not equal?
Well, you're looking at me. But sidekick sounds to me like it should be riding on the side of a motorcycle, the little thing that sits the little.
Now that's
car
a
on the
nice
side.
picture of Arnold in A Happier Day with Maria Shriver in 1980. Man, they've been together that long. I got to ask this question too, folks. Once you reach a certain age and you've been married to somebody for a certain period of time, aren't you supposed to just stay freaking married? I mean, what the hell? Why get divorced if you're over 40 years old and you've been married for a while, or over 50? You get to be 50. You hear about these people in their 60s and 70s getting divorced. I'm like, are you kidding me? How in the hell do you get divorced? Makes no sense at all. I want to give it rest in peace and a Bulldog Nation salute to William Ivan Eubank Sr., age 81, who passed away because his family, all the Eubanks, are friends of mine, particularly Bill Jr. Great family from Independence in South Covington. And the service was last week. And I missed the obituary, but it's not too late to honor them, and I want to honor them. Also, USA Today front page features Ross Perot. The U.S. is headed for disaster. 20 years after he upended the presidential base, presidential race, the Texas billionaire is painfully vindicated as the nation is still hemorrhaging Reading. Doesn't it crack you up how we caricature the establishment goes after people like Ross Perot and Ron Paul, when guess what? That what really means is they're right. And they try to make fun of them. They wouldn't let Ron Paul on the Republican debate stage 4 years ago in 2008. Ross Perot was right. Spend. Because we both know the Republicans and Democrats are equally at fault of getting us in the shape we're in. The only difference is the Republicans, thanks to the Tea Party, have woken up. Now, for all of you that think I'm being too big of a pessimist, I have not played a single song selection from this group. And I know this is your favorite anthem, especially all you ladies out there. So, you can sing it in your car if you like. You can think of the Sopranos if you like. This is Journey. Don't stop believing. I'm not going to stop believing that Barack Obama's going down in November on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Final traffic report for this morning, Denise. Let's have it.
Well, there's a couple of accidents, one with injuries, or two actually, one at Glenway and Considine, so watch for that. That's going to slow you down in that area. And then also Round Bottom Road at Valley Avenue. That one also has some injuries. And then there's a vehicle reported to be off the roadway northbound 75 right around Paddock. So if you're heading in that northbound direction, traffic's lighter than normal this morning. I don't know. I'm kind of convinced it's some kind of a holiday or something that we didn't know about, but also, just another accident on Section at Salford Road. So, again, traffic's lighter than normal. Just watch that problem on northbound 75. They got to pull somebody up. That tow truck could be blocking lanes later.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, the New York Times on Sunday, on the front page, left-hand column said, title, Shifting Reports on Libya Killings May Cost Obama. Subheadline, An Opening for Romney. Subheadline, headline, Intelligence aides say attack on compound was organized. And in an article by Mark Landler, they basically go after old Barack Obama on Libya. And, some people, when they read something, it's not very good radio. But, of course, when yours truly does it, it's still good radio. And I would like to read sections of this article, which was the editorial in Thursday's Wall Street Journal, The Libya Debacle. In his United Nations speech on Tuesday, President Obama talked about the September 11th attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya and declared that there should be no doubt that we will be relentless in tracking down the killers and bringing them to justice. We haven't even gotten there yet. What he didn't say is how relentless he'll be in tracking down the security lapses and intelligence failures that contributed to the murders. Let's say there's some doubt about that. None of the initial explanations offered by the White House and State Department since the assault on the Benghazi consulate has held up. First, the administration blamed protests provoked by an amateurish anti-Islam clip posted on YouTube. Cue Susan Rice, the UN ambassador, and leading candidate for Secretary of State in the second Obama term. What happened initially was that it was a spontaneous reaction as a consequence of the video that people gathered outside the embassy when it grew very violent. Administration officials also maintained that the diplomatic missions in Libya and Egypt, the site of the first attacks this September 11th, were properly defended and that the U.S. had no reason to prepare for any attack. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence has said that we had no actionable intelligence that an attack on our post in Benghazi was planned or imminent, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said last week, calling the security measures in place there robust. Well, that's a bunch of poppycock. Cell phone footage and witness testimony from Benghazi soon undercut the administration's trope of an angry march hijacked by a few bad people. As it turned out, the assault was well coordinated with fighters armed with guns, RPGs, and diesel canisters, which were used to set the buildings on fire. Ambassador Chris Stevens died of smoke inhalation. Briefing Congress, the administration changed its story and said the attacks were pre-planned and linked to al-Qaeda. You'd think this admission would focus attention on why the compound was so vulnerable to begin with. But the administration wants to avoid this conversation. The removal of all staff on Benghazi, including a large component of intelligence officers, would also seem to hinder their ability to investigate the attacks and bring the killers to justice. Journalists have stayed on the case, however, and their reporting is filling the administration's holes. On Friday, our Wall Street Journal colleagues showed that starting in spring, U.S. intelligence has been worried about radical militias in eastern Libya. These armed groups helped topple Gaddafi last year, but weren't demobilized as the new government has slowly found its legs. As we've noted since last winter, the waning of American and European interest in Libya could have dangerous consequences. Deteriorating security was no secret. On April 10th, for example, an explosive device was thrown at a convoy carrying UN envoy Ian Martin. On June 6th, an improvised explosive device exploded outside the U.S. consulate. In late August, State warned American citizens who were planning to travel to Libya about the threat of assassinations and car bombing. Despite all this, U.S. diplomatic missions had minimal security. I'm going to skip a little bit. Rummaging through the Benghazi compound, a CNN reporter found a 7-page notebook belonging to Ambassador Stevens. According to the network, the diary said he was concerned about the never-ending security threats in Benghazi and wrote that he was on an al-Qaeda hit list. In deference to the family's wishes, CNN didn't quote directly from the diary and didn't divulge any private information in it. His worries are newsworthy, however, and can inform American response. But Mrs. Clinton's longtime and closest media advisor chose to attack CNN. Unbelievable. Imagine the uproar if barely a month before Election Day, the Bush administration had responded to a terrorist strike on September 11th, no less, in this fashion. 4 Americans lost their lives in Benghazi in a terrorist attack that evidence suggests should have been anticipated and might have been stopped. They didn't do anything. See, here's why we should condemn this. It was lapse security. It was a failure in security. And then it's lying and covering up what it all meant. How do you trust these people? You know, Nixon said, the American people should know their president is not a liar and tells them the truth when he talks to them. Nixon was right. And, of course, we know that our president is a liar. A big, fatty liar. Fatty liar. Fatty, 2x4. And that's about being fat. Not about lying. Lying like a rug. All right. Are we ready for George Harrison? Can we go into the break with George? Well, as the Bulldog says, every dog has their day. I hope today and tomorrow is yours. And I leave you, as always, with George Harrison to put you in a good mood as you continue your listening right here on Class X Radio. I love you, Bulldog Nation. George Harrison, What is Life?